Now, by the way, if you guys are enjoying this, especially, the documentary is awesome. So we will have the documentary link down below. Highly encourage you to check it out. Like you've cited a couple of them today, but you got some amazing interviews in there as well. Like people who were agreeing to talk on this and really provide insight. And, I'm not a father yet. You are, but I'm already thinking about this for when I have kids. It's like, you damn well don't want to be a helicopter parent in any way like that. I don't believe in any of that shit. But at the same time, what is like the system done to make you just say, yeah, I'm sure it's fine over there. Like you don't want to just assume it's going to work out.
Well, and it's changed so much, right? Like your mom found out because of the teachers' unions. The teachers' unions have really welcomed in some of these radical, different, ideologies that we have this, in the United States, I think it was 1947, the Supreme Court really, like, that's where we officially did the separation of church and state. And I think, there's a lot of benefits to religious freedom, but where we've gotten to this sticky point where we've invited curriculums like the SOGI curriculum that I uncovered. I had no idea what SOGI was. SOGI is sexual orientation, gender identity. And then you have the LGBTQ, and it's really kind of operated as a religion, but it doesn't fall under the religion category. So it's in this really sticky in-between where what happened, that's a whole deep dive if you want to go down it. How SOGI even came to be.
Please.
It's messed up. Yeah. It's wild. So SOGI originated in 2006. There was a summit in Indonesia called the Yogyakarta Summit. And it was funded by John Stryker, who is like the heir to the Stryker Medical Company.
Oh, yeah.
And he's gay, and he's invested a ton of money into LGBTQ initiatives. So he's like the number one investor into all this. And he created this thing called the Arcus Foundation, and they funded the Yogyakarta, summit in Indonesia. And what that was, this was really run by the UN. The UN was like, hey, in order to give you SOGI people and LGBTQ rights, we need like a meeting for all of these different lawyers and psychologists and everybody to gather to kind of codify human rights law.
Where they're paid to come to a pre-desired conclusion.
Yeah. Well, they were paid to be there, so they were hand selected. Yeah. Absolutely. So we can't really rely on that being very, unbiased research, right? And we're seeing that. We're seeing all sorts of harms that these, hormone blockers and, gender transitioning. We're seeing that, like I uncovered that in the film. There's so many harms to children, and like a lot of it turns into you're grooming kids. Right? Kids 100%. At the age of 12 are able to make medical decisions. Kids in Colorado, it's the State Department of Education mandates that you teach kids about SOGI in first grade. Sexual orientation, gender identity. So you're teaching kids about sex in first grade. That's mandated.
About any sex.
Nothing.
In first grade.
Right? And this is like something 80% of parents agree on, but why is it being pushed in the schools? Like, that's the question I ask. I have no issue with people being gay, being trans, do whatever you want. If you want to identify as a, Norwegian red squirrel, I don't care. Like, go ahead.
Oh, you're a transracial guy.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Can I be black for the day?
Absolutely. Go ahead, man. I'm not offended. So I don't care, but if you start pushing it on kids, that's where we have an issue, right? And that's what's happening right now is like a lot of parents are like, hey, pump the brakes. So what happened is in 2006, they codified this into human international law. It could have been 2009. I might be wrong on the dates.
SOGI?
That was the Yogyakarta Summit, where they created the human rights laws surrounding SOGI. And what that did is it codified it in a international human rights law. Internationally. But what happened is the UN took that and they said, okay, let's start enforcing it. So that's where DEI comes in. And really the UN are like the enforcers. They were the OGs of pushing DEI and enforcing that. And then from there, same Arcus Foundation, you could trace, it's really Arcus Foundation, the Gill Foundation, and it's like the Stryker family, like Pat Stryker. A lot of them are based in Colorado. So that's why Colorado is like the guinea pig. It's like, let's see what we can do here. Let's see what we can create. It was like 4 billionaires flipped Colorado from being a red state to a blue state. There's just 4 people. And those 4 people are the ones that created and funded and established this SOGI, curriculum. And so it's anything against parental rights and against, religious rights, and they attack it. So, they funded all sorts of different, advocacy groups to bring this into schools. And that's kind of like GLSEN. They're kind of like the main group that pushes this curriculum into schools, and they funded them as well. So, I mean, they hit it from top to bottom to bring it into the schools. And I don't know. I don't know if there's like, some nefarious agenda to groom kids with all this. It seems that way. It seems that way. It seems like that's what you're doing. You're taking advantage of very vulnerable kids. But the issue is, and thankfully, the Supreme Court just ruled with Mahmoud versus Taylor, I think last year, that parents can opt their kids out of any SOGI or LGBTQ curriculum because it's a violation of their religious freedom.
How do they police that, though?
Exactly.
Right.
And the what I uncovered by going undercover inside the NEA, because I actually went to their conference and went into the breakout sessions and heard what they were saying in closed door meetings.
That shit sounded crazy.
And they are actively subverting parents. There's things called like GSAs, which are gender sexuality awareness clubs. And they on camera are saying, I recommend maybe you don't use this name. Try something different. Right. So they have like 40 different inconspicuous names for this stuff. So unfortunately, I don't want to sound like fear-mongering.
That's okay.
But
it's the truth.
This stuff is happening all over the country, and it's happening indiscreetly. It's happening behind parents' backs. And the only way for you to know if it's happening or not is to really go in the school and go find out for yourself. Because anywhere where the NEA is, the teachers' unions, there's 2.8 million members, and they are the largest labor union in the United States. They have a monopoly on education. Anywhere where they have funded this stuff. They've given money to it. They've promoted it. So it's in there.
And it's textbook groupthink ideology too, when it's bastardized in the worst possible way. By the way, when you were filming that though, because like you said, you have the undercover video in the doc. Like, how do you do that without being noticed? You got like a fucking
I don't know if I should give away
something.
I don't know if I should give away my secrets. A lot of it was just off my iPhone.
You just like...
Yeah, I just kind of like propped it up. Yeah. I propped it up on my backpack, actually. So, yeah, they have no idea.
What they were saying.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
My jaw hit the floor when they were like praising the Satanic Temple. And I mean, you just look and like, that's where I come to, I wanted to avoid this stuff when I was making the film. I was like, I want to stay out of politics. I want to stay out of this stuff. I just want to make a film about education. But then I realized like, oh, it's all interconnected. You can't separate them, right? Because education is like the battlefield.
And I think we're fine. We're at a moment right now, too. It's a very unique moment, and I mean this in a good way. It's a fun, dangerous time in the sense that the veil has now been lifted on what I would characterize as like the uniparty system, where you have the Democrats, the Republicans. At one moment, one sounds crazier than the other. It's kind of flipped that way, back and forth my whole life. And then you realize they're all funded by the same people. Over time, they support the same systems overall. Maybe they argue about this or that, how to do it, but they generally support the same things. Mm-hmm. And then you see such blatantly insane, depraved, awful stuff like the Epstein stuff we're seeing right now, where every administration, every Congress, D or R controlled over the last probably about 30 years, has put a lid on it and stopped it. So if they're willing to do that for something like that, what are they willing to do for what they don't show you in education? Don't ask, don't tell, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that, I don't know. This has been it feels like the perfect time for a bipartisan attack here, because we are now realizing that the world is separated between extremely elite people and everyone else. And everyone else includes the homeless guy outside and your buddy whose dad's got a great small business that does like 8 million in revenue in a year, and he drives a Porsche. Believe it or not, like that sounds crazy, but like he's a nobody compared to what we're talking about. And I just, I try to play with this to not get my brain to go too far off the edge, but once you see it, it's impossible not to see.
All right, baby, this will blow your mind a little bit more.
Blow it away. Pause.
So not one single U.S. president has sent their kids to a public school. And
that doesn't surprise me.
This might blow your mind a little bit more. Horace Mann, the guy that created this whole system, right? Homeschooled his kids.
God damn it.
He had 3 sons.
God damn it.
He homeschooled them. So you're 100% spot on. It's an elitist system. It was built by the elites, and they didn't even send their kids to it. Let that sink in. We all went through a system that they themselves created, and they didn't even send their kids through it. So it shows. I mean, we were viewed as like cattle, it's like, let's just create consumers. Let's create people that are going to just obey and follow orders. And I think that's why everybody's having this crisis of meaning right now, where it's like, what does this all mean? We're just consuming things. And it's like, no, that's not how God intended it to be. It's just how the system was captured.
One of, if not the most common DMs I get on Instagram are many of you asking me what my favorite books are. Well, today's your lucky day, because if you use the link in my description below to join my newsletter, I'm going to give you my top 10 book recommendations right now. Also, if you'd like to join my clipping community for a chance to make money producing content from the show, you can do so via the Discord link in my description below. And finally, you can join my Patreon for early uncensored releases of the full episodes via the Patreon link in my description below. As always, please take 1 second to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. Also, the like button's a big help, and you can join my newsletter via the link in the description below. You study a lot of history. I like that. That's how you learn things, but it is, and I try to, I'm an optimist, and I also try to let's pull it back to equilibrium and all that. But when you see the patterns as they are right now across every level of society, I don't need to list them all off. You know what I'm talking about. We're hitting on one of them today, but if this does not change at some point and people continue to fall in the spread of the wealth gap and meaninglessness, you will have a French Revolution moment.
Big time.
People think that, that can't happen in fucking 2020. Bitch, they were fucking burning cities 5 years ago because they were bored for 3 months on the couch. You know what I mean? And that wouldn't be good for anybody.
We could rug the system pretty easily, actually. It's just we've all been kind of pitted against each other.
Yes.
It's all of us are paying taxes. If we all stopped paying taxes, they would have no money.
Yeah.
Right. That's the reality. This is why, in my opinion, this is why they don't teach kids about taxes. If they taught us about the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 and how all of this was all created, and they said, oh yeah, actually before 1913, your ancestors, they weren't doing any of this stupid shit, right? If they taught us that stuff in school, we would be like, oh, this is insane. We're not doing it. That's why they don't teach it, right? That's my whole thing is everybody focuses on, okay, there's all these crazy things they're teaching kids. Yes. What are the things they're not teaching us? Right? They're not teaching us what happened leading into the American Revolution, where they're not teaching us that the founding fathers were in their 20s and 30s and got together and were like, nope, sorry.
Fucking ripping hemp and writing out the greatest documents of all time.
Exactly. Sacred geometry, and they were just tapped in. So yeah, on a positive note, I do feel I'm on one side, I'm I don't want to push for a revolution. I want to push for a restoration.
Yeah.
Let's just opt out. Let's just step out of that system. And it's probably going to die. It's going to continue to die. But if you opt yourself out and you inspire other people around you to pull their kids out of that system, and you guys kind of start going this way, we start building regenerative farms. We start, getting back in tune with the land. We start decentralizing the money. We're seeing that happening.
Yes.
We have kind of the recipe, like you said. It's there. It's brewing. It's just the awareness has to click. There has to be that, there has to be that kind of critical mass moment where enough people, it doesn't have to be the majority, but enough people are this isn't benefiting us. It's not benefiting the world. right? All these foreign wars, like, I don't know the answer to this, right? Because like, I don't want to see like in Iran right now, we're at war, we're in a new war. You guys are well aware of that. It's like, man, it just feels like this is like, we're just repeating the same thing over and over. Like, let's just go drop bombs, blow things up, and then it's going to fix everything. Like, I've spent time in the Middle East, and stuff doesn't work, man. It just doesn't seem like it works. Yeah. It might like Band-Aid solution for a little bit, but it's expensive. It puts us into massive amounts of debt. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the charts of like the insane debt from president to president.
It's insane. That is the can that has been kicked down the road that will blow up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot not blow up. Does that mean it blows up next year? Not necessarily. But like in my lifetime, if it is not drastically changed, will it blow up? Fuck yeah, it will. What are we, 39 trillion? I don't even know the number now. You can't even keep track of it. It's like 39 trillion or something in debt. Like, yeah, we'll just invent fucking paper money.
I don't even think those zeros would fit on this desk.
They don't. They don't. Yeah, they're the U.S. debt clock. Wow, I got it. Yeah, 38 trillion 800. I can't even read that number out. This is how we're supposed to like how learn your fucking math. That's what we should do. This is how you teach math, kids. You want to see how much your daddy's fucking losing in money?
Yeah.
Count this. If you can count, what is this? This is actually really cool.
Yeah.
usdebtclock.org, and it's got every variable. You could teach a whole class on this right here. So our mutual friend Mark Gagnon, has he told you about his schooling upbringing?
No.
Oh, so he's what you call a classically trained conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, excellent.
So his mom homeschooled him, and instead of like, you know, we're going to learn 100 plus 50 today, she'd be like, Bilderberg. Like, hand it to him. And then, like, 9/11, Building 7. No.
Yeah.
And, like, his mom, who's a dear friend of mine, his mom was on it with a lot of things, including stuff that, like, 8 months ago I'd been like, I don't know about. Now it's like, wow, she was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
It's like the quote should be like, a conspiracy is Gagnon's mom plus 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're running out of conspiracy theories at this point.
Yeah, I don't have much information for you at this point.
Do you when you look at that, when you look at the debt picture, like how do you think this kind of plays out? So, I mean, you look at like Clinton was the last president to be able to get us into surplus.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was in
bad
surplus of some other stuff, but
bad guy. Yeah, a few things. Bad guy. The 94 Crime Bill Act was terrible, though it was bipartisan. I'll give him that because he lost the midterms. And he repealed Glass-Steagall, which set the course quite literally for the financial crisis. These are all horrible things. Didn't get us into too many foreign wars compared to what we do. They had the whole situation in the Balkans, but not a lot of that. And oversaw the best years in American history. And to your point, you know, this is like saying it's a dwarf among midgets, but, you know, he was the best when it comes to not having our debt be completely out of control. Then you get Bush, Obama, Trump, it all stays the same, D or R. They just put it up because they got a win on a Tuesday in November. And everything is just a fucking narrative. And it's just a plot point for some 30-second ad that some billionaire is going to spend like $10 million to buy on NBC while we're having our bread and circus watching the fucking Patriots lose. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not – at some point, I think in society, we got to talk about that. And we got to say, all right, what do we play in that system? Mm-hmm. What role do we play? How much do we just sit on this all day and accept the never-ending scroll and not think about it and be like, you know what? I'm not going to touch that right now. Let's just get it out of here. You know, I think we also do have to look at ourselves too, no?
100%. I think we have the power. Like, we the people. We constitutionally have the power. And if you look at the founding fathers, for as imperfect as they were, they, I think, wrote that thing to prevent us from what we're living in. Like, we just kind of were born into it. Like, there was bad mistakes that previous generation. I heard a quote that I don't remember where it came from, but it was eternal vigilance is the price of liberty.
Eternal vigilance is the price of that's a bar.
And
was that Biggie Smalls?
It could have been. It could have been. It really could have been.
Yeah.
I don't know who ripped that one.
Maybe it's another Keanu Reeves quote.
An Irish order.
An Irish order. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Dang. But that slapped.
Yeah.
Is that from 1852? Wow.
John
Pressing
Phillips
year.
Coran. Probably didn't like the royal family, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Well, he
shout
knew.
out
That
to
is
him.
an Irish thing to say.
Yeah.
I do feel that's what it is.
The
We
price
have
of
to.
liberty.
Eternal
Oh my
vigilance.
God.
Price of fucking liberty.
He's got a mean.
Yeah, that was
Irish
great.
accent. That was good. He's just whipping a Guinness that down and saying that. He's like, wow. Yeah, nah, I spit right there. Not gonna lie, fam.
Yeah. And here we are repeating it.
Yeah, Ben Franklin had a similar quote. He's like, those who, what was it? Those who want protection
Safety,
in exchange
right?
for safety, or safety in exchange for liberty and freedom deserve neither, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Yeah. Yeah.
No cap. Yeah, they were dialed.
Yeah, he's my favorite. I studied the shit out of him. He was way ahead of his time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just a genius.
So do you feel what would it take? Because I mean, I look at so many things that are happening today, and I'm like, oh, like we already have enough of an excuse to not pay taxes. But like, do you think there's like something where do you see a point where we could get where everybody kind of looks around and is just like, yeah, let's just stop paying them, or maybe not stop paying them in full, but like, you know, do you see that being a possibility, or could that just destroy everything? Could that make it way worse than it is?
Do you want me to tell you what I want the answer to be or what I think it is?
Both.
What I want the answer to be is say, yeah, fuck the system. Let's all just peace out, throw up our middle fingers, and it'll all work out. The reality is we've been the empire for a while in America, so that means you have no friends. Even your friends are like, you know. You think the British don't remember 76? They still do. They're like, hey, that was us. We had that, and now they got it, you know? So like this, I love our British friends, obviously, but governments are governments. You know, the system crashing all at once would probably, you know, would you want to rule over ashes, or would you want to like rebuild where you do the Phoenix part before the ashes? I'd want to do the Phoenix part before the ashes, which means you probably couldn't just all be like, you know, let's all not pay it. However, the spirit of that and rebelling against at least some of it that we can all agree on. Now that what's that middle ground right there? That might be something, because I mean, how many billions of dollars are we going to spend on Ukraine? How many times am I going to see 10 million of my tax dollars have a senator sign fuck Gaza and send it in to kill kids, you know, on the rocket before they do it? Like, that's not what I'm paying for. What I want to pay for is that the bus picks up the kids and takes the kids to a school where they're actually going to learn something and not be fucking brainwashed. You know, the trash gets taken to the proper place and it's not asbestos in the fucking system. Like, these are very simple asks, but we don't get them. So to your point, yeah, at some point there should be some sort of collective like, yeah, this isn't going to fly.
That's beautiful. Do you feel the boomers are kind of like, once they're gone, do you feel like our generation stepping in is going to have that kind of social awareness? That's the one thing I'm very interested to see.
Well, what do you think?
It's going to be a mixed bag, I'm sure, because the issue with institutional power is they have so much money now and so much influence, and you know, people don't want to give that up once they have it. But I do see, you know, people like Thomas Massey, I think, are a great example, but they're all also getting pushed out. You know,
He'll win.
You think he's going to win?
Yes.
Okay, I hope so.
I think that's a great argument for hope here. I think people are seeing through that. Like, what? He tried to release the Epstein files and said no to AIPAC money, and you're trying to get him out of there? Go fuck yourself.
That'll be a huge win. I think bigger than more people maybe realize if he wins that. What are the polling?
Let's find that out. I'd love to. He's tweeting like right now. To me, him and Ro Khanna are like a protected class for me. I've never said that about politicians, but I'm like, yo, y'all are the least two worst among us right now. He's tweeting like he's scared, which scares me. Maybe that's just on purpose to make sure he wins by fucking 75%. I hope that's what it is. But I feel like a lot of people in Kentucky, they're not too worried about Israel. I feel like they got bigger fish to fry down there.
Yeah.
And when some guy comes out and says, I'm going to make sure that I'm a great fucking friend to Israel and Congress, they're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to stick with this guy.
Yeah. I got to go take care of my chicken coop right now. It's like, I got time for this.
I mean, this is the same state that has Rand Paul that's been elected forever. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that's a good omen. Do we have anything, Deef?
The only thing I got is Calci.
So they're suppressing the polls. But that's what they're doing.
He's favorited on Calci.
Okay, good.
Only by 59 to 41.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty decent. All right, if you're listening from Kentucky, get out.
Yeah, what? And by the way,
keep Thomas Massey in.
Look at this. Look at the Calci polling. Since the Epstein files were released right here, he's at 76%.
Uh-huh.
And now he's down to 59.
He is on an upward spike now, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. But, I mean, come on, people. This isn't hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I am optimistic, though. I am overall, I'm optimistic because so many parents are choosing to educate their kids now. And so I think we're going to have way more critical thinkers in the world. And especially with AI, we're going to have this gap where you're going to have kids like at Alpha School or, different solutions like Notion that I focused on in Mexico. You're going to have kids that are creators that know how to use these technologies to create. And then you're going to have consumers. So my prayer, my hope is that we have a lot of kids that are creators, that are engaging in society and not victims, right? We do not want to teach kids to be victims.
That's
I think
right.
there's a lot of that going on right now where we're kind of teaching kids, this is a racist country, this system's oppressive, and da-da-da-da-da. It's important to, know what happened, like we've been discussing, but we have to solve problems. We have to, change things, create change. So I'm optimistic that that's going to happen. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking that, but
I hope you're right. I think we also need to normalize other types of heroes too. So I think it's awesome when you grow up and you have some heroes who are athletes or entertainers and stuff like that. And, maybe they're really good guys too, and they do something really impressive. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater here. I think that's great when kids like that. But I think it'd be really cool if more kids grew up and looked at, like a Navy SEAL David Goggins as a hero and stuff like that. And he's an extreme example because he's the ultimate, you just got to do it. You got to be hard, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right? But still, there is something in that. And he lives it, by the way. Like we've seen all these, you've seen it up close, but you saw a lot of people come up at the dawn of the internet and they claimed all these things and they look like this thing. And now we're far past the point where we realize, he wrote some checks his ass couldn't cash. David Goggins is still, I watched a video of him like 3 months ago, like finishing some 107-mile race with his fucking knee falling off in the middle of the night. And it looks miserable to me, but like, that's what he said he was doing a decade ago. That's what he's still doing, And I think who our kids look up to and the types of attitudes that those people have about life is extremely, extremely important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we used to call that the rugged individual, right? Mm-hmm. Rugged individualism, and it does seem like you need a little bit more of that. Like the warmth of collectivism. I think your governor, well, not yours, New York's governor or mayor is that's kind of his slogan. Yeah, the more safety nets we provide in society, the safer we make it, and the less risk. The more you can just sue people for anything. It creates comfort, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
All these welfare programs, all these social programs are very expensive. But if you can empower people to be rugged individuals, that's where we come from. Like the pioneers, like the early settlers here, that was not easy life. Not easy life. And I wouldn't want to go back and have to live in those conditions by any means. But I agree with you, that mindset, being built for whatever can be thrown at you. I mean, the Ukraine war is what it is. I spent a year in Ukraine, and it really taught me.
A year in Ukraine.
Yeah, I spent a year in there.
All right, tell me about that. How the fuck did you end up there?
I was originally going to go for 10 days. And I went,
He's like, content.
didn't tell my mom. Did not tell mom on that one. I'm like, Mom, hey, how you doing? She's like, where are you at? Ukraine? What?
Wow.
But I had done some work with a humanitarian organization called Global Empowerment Mission, and they're based in Doral, Florida. I had done some stuff with them in the Amazon, more natural disaster stuff with the Amazon fires in 2019. And
Really?
that kind of like planted the seed for me to start doing things greater than myself. I was like, I want to try to contribute to something greater than me.
So you went down there while the fires were going on.
Went down there and we did a cool program where we like bought a bunch of firefighter gear for a bunch of indigenous people that were like just needed stuff to fight these little fires.
Where in the Amazon?
Bolivia.
Okay.
It was on the Bolivia side. And in 2022, I saw the war. I saw the invasion, and it really shook me. I was like, just from a purely humanitarian perspective, I was like, man, this is like messed up. And so I went out there in July, so just a couple months after it had started, and I went to a city called Bucha, which was just outside of Kyiv. And that was where the Bucha massacre happened. So the Russian soldiers basically came in and they killed and they raped a bunch of girls, like really young girls. Like some of them were like 8, 9 years old, 13 years old. They killed like over 500 civilians, just mass graves. And I saw all of it. And I was interviewing these people. I mean, it was insane. And so
You saw the mass graves?
yeah, saw it. The battle that had happened. I mean, just like houses blown up, bullet holes everywhere. I mean, it was just like a game of Call of Duty, like had just rolled through. It was the most insane thing I've seen.
What's it like, though? You know, it's not like you were a special forces soldier who'd seen like 40 tours of duty or something. What's it like to come upon a place where there are civilian, of course, I mean, the regular army men bodies too, but like women and children just dead by the hundreds or thousands. I can't fathom that.
No, I mean, that's why I stayed. I was like, I'm staying here. I'm not going home. I'm going to like help these people because they don't deserve this.
Does it desensitize you a little bit once you see that so much?
Yes and no. I think it's more of like you learn how to maybe handle it a little bit more. So yeah, I guess it can desensitize you because I mean, you have to. I mean, the human nature in us has to normalize whatever environment we're in, right? Like when I'm in Ukraine, there's people walking their dogs while the air raid sirens are going off and there's like Shahed drones flying into the city. And I had to do the same thing, you know? Like I would just be like, I can't stay cowered in fear while these alarms are going off. So
Who were you there with?
with the nonprofit that I'm working with.
Yeah, but like how many people are we talking?
Well, so it's cool. I like the org that I work with because we don't import a bunch of foreign volunteers. So the guy I work with, Michael Capone, he's the founder of Global Empowerment Mission. And so I went in with him, but he travels a lot. And so I started going out to the Donbass, which is like the eastern part of Ukraine. And I spent a lot of time out there kind of helping because the war had shifted from Kyiv to the Donbass. And so I went out there, I was kind of like on the first teams to go out there and start assessing, just like, hey, what's going on? What are the needs? Like just seeing what's up, you know?
What did the people say there in the Donbass? Like what was the vibe? Were there people, because that's the one region that people talk about, like, well, there's Russian speakers. Do they want to be in Ukraine? Do they want to be Russian? Like there's so much propaganda there.
Oh yeah, the propaganda is crazy. Well, I found that there's a crazy amount of propaganda, and the vast majority of people want to be Ukrainian.
Really?
Yeah, because after the Soviet Union, life was tough, but it was way better in Ukraine than it was Russia. I think from the Western perspective, we look at it like, oh, Ukraine's super corrupt. Yeah, they have their issues. Russia's got way worse issues. You know, Ukraine is definitely more leaning towards being European, obviously, especially now. But yeah, by and large, people wanted to be Ukrainian. I maybe ran across a couple people that were just like, I don't care. But the vast majority of people were like, no, we don't want to go back to that. We do not want to go back to the Soviet Union. So that's why they're fighting. They're fighting like hell to, you know, prevent Russia from taking their land.
It's also wild, though, that you're talking about a war that has estimates of like 2 million casualties, like 1 million, whatever it was. We looked at it the other day, Deef, like 1 million dead. And the world continues funding it and continues. And I've had guys in here who are, from the military side who have been there on the lines as well, who can at least also speak to the style of war fighting and everything. And they're like, these motherfuckers, they're fighting for 2 weeks over 14 yards and there's hundreds of bodies stacking up.
Oh yeah.
And this
brutal.
is happening all over the country. And at some point you're like, people talk about like bankers wars and population control. You're like, are we just watching this happen in real time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough. What's the solution? I think if I had the answer to that, then I'd probably be in a different position. I don't know what the solution is. It's tough. I love the Ukrainian people. They're beautiful. Their spirit is incredible. I feel like the Ukrainians have a lot to bring to the world too. So I do.
What do you mean by that?
Their skill, their grit, their abilities. I mean, you look at the drone technology that they've developed, that alone is phenomenal. I mean, they had a really strong tech industry before that was emerging. They have an immense amount of natural resources. Do we want that going to Russia? Do we want that staying with Europe? I mean, these aren't the questions that I want to answer, but it's like you kind of have to answer some of those questions, with geopolitics. So judging by Russia, I don't know if we want to see a really strong Russian empire again.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too.
That's like kicking the can down the road, right? We already dealt with that, and like, do we want to deal with it again? Do we want to let them regain the Soviet Union? And
that's part of the reason I think you got to stop this war, because they have a
Big time.
GDP the size of Italy. No offense, but they're not like that. They could become like that if you allow them to fight a perpetual war, gain more ground, potentially get access to resources strictly because you kept the war going that they wouldn't have had access to. And now you play it 50, 60 years out and maybe suddenly they have a GDP the size of China.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm taking a lot of leaps there, but like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Whereas if you just, the West is funding the war too. You can go in and be like, all right, let's make some sort of little compromise here. You could take what would feel like all right, we're letting Putin live. Oh, we don't like that. But people aren't dying, which I feel like they don't care about. And also, sadly, you have controlled growth of where Russia is. And now there's a clear red line. Like if they try anything, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be, the world won't give them a second time for it to be like, well, what about the people? It would just be like, nope, you come over, you're getting invaded. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is why I think it's like, hopefully it's the final war, for them. It's
not looking good, bro. We just fucking invaded Iran. So,
yeah. Well, I'm saying the final war between Ukraine and Russia.
Oh.
Hopefully this is kind of like draw the lines and you enforce that.
I hope so.
You have outside, we were supposed to enforce that when Ukraine gave up their nukes. We kind of had a little deal with them.
Yeah, we also broke promises to Russia too
100%.
in the 90s that cannot be denied.
Yep.
And there's been a lot.
It's a messy.
It's a lot of like hornet's
Non-linear.
nest kicking.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like over and over again, they're like, we'll kick this Putin guy again. He won't care. It's like, well, he just killed 2 journalists in fucking Britain. I feel like he cared. Yeah, we'll kick him again. Oh, now he killed his political opposition. I think he cares. Yeah, we'll kick him again. No, now he invaded Ukraine. It's like, what do you expect to happen?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough. I'm not the geopolitic expert, but from a purely humanitarian perspective, I think it's pretty clear like who's on the right side, if you will.
Yes.
I think the Ukrainian people don't want this war, right?
Of course.
If it was up to the Ukrainian people, the war would be over today.
Mm-hmm.
If it was up to, and they would exist. If they gave up right now, they wouldn't exist anymore. So it's a war for existence.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault for sure. But you were there for a full year.
Mm-hmm.
So what was, you said you wanted to be there for 10 days originally, and you're there with the guy who's the head of the Humanitarian Foundation. But like, who are you? Are you with specific people in the Ukrainian military? Are you with specific civilians who are fixers? Like, what does it look like? And what did you end up doing on a day-to-day for a year?
So I was with a ex-special forces guy in the Ukrainian military, and then some active special forces guys as well. So the military would kind of take us around. Like we went to Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Vuhledar, Kupiansk, like all over the front lines, from Kherson to Zaporizhia, and all throughout the Donbass. And we would go. So our primary mission was to bring food to essentially what happens within. At the time when it was just artillery. Now it's drone warfare. So, I mean, if you're
Yeah.
like anywhere 10 kilometers near the front line, like FPV drones, you're literally, whenever we're driving, we're like looking out, listening, no music, because those things are lethal.
Yeah.
When I was out there in the beginning, it was primarily artillery, but they had destroyed all these grocery stores. They were attacking all the power plants. So these people wanted to stay. And if they flee, they become refugees. And we don't want that. Nobody wants that in Europe. Nobody wants that in the world. You don't want a bunch of refugees. That creates a crisis. So our job was, how can we keep these people here? They want to stay here. Well, they need food. They need water. They need windows to be repaired that have gotten blown out, when it's the winter. So that was our primary focus, going village to village. And, it started with just a small team. And now we have, thanks the Howard Buffett Foundation funds our whole operation out there. So we have, we're doing, I think, like 800,000 people a month receive food from our organization.
That's making a big difference.
It's a massive humanitarian operation, and we're an NGO, so we're performing. And I don't say this to brag. It's kind of, I think it's cool. We only have 3% overhead. So when you look at other nonprofits, or like you look at UN agencies, I mean, they have immense amount of overhead, and they're doing a fraction of what we're doing. So they have an extra zero on their budget, and they're doing less than what we're doing. So that's been cool to work with an organization that's disrupting the space. So
You going back?
Yeah, I'll be back.
When?
June, I think. June or September.
How long you planning on staying?
Not that long. Thankfully, our model is empowerment, and they're empowered. Like, they're all Ukrainians. Like, we have like 3,000 Ukrainian employees. We don't really send any Americans there.
Oh, so you're making jobs too.
Yeah, that's what it's about. And, the traditional model is like, send your staff in there and you do it all. Yeah. And then when you leave, you leave. Like, that's not our model. Our model is like, let's empower victims of that disaster. Let's give them the tools they need to help.
I like that.
So I don't really need to be there anymore. In the beginning, I kind of needed to be there because I needed to help, and oversee things, make sure it was going to the right places. I didn't have anything to gain, right. So you got to kind of make sure people are, doing what they're saying, doing what they're saying they're going to do. Were
you ever in situations where you were genuinely like afraid for your life?
Yeah. I could send you a video. I have a GoPro video if you want to watch it.
Send away. Yeah, give it to Deef. He'll pull it up while we're talking.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Let's see if I can find it.
My friend Katarina Schultz was actually just there too. And you talk about the drone warfare. We've done a couple podcasts recently really talking about drones as well. So it's like kind of top of mind. But she had to change. She was there. So she does like a lot of cartel reporting. And she had to change the tree line behind her using AI, so it looks fake behind her, behind where a bunch of these Ukrainian soldiers who are mercenaries that they were hiring had their face blurred. So people were like, "Oh, this picture's fake." She's like, "It's not, but the background is changed because the military mandates that you have to change the background and everything because it allows for geolocational targeting." Mm-hmm. Of drones, and people get taken out. And it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I do remember, for what it's worth, I remember like when they were, even when I was a little kid, when they were chasing bin Laden and he would do a video, he would always have to make sure at the beginning he was like doing videos with rocks behind him. And even back in like 2002, the CIA would be like reading for the structure and makeup of the rocks on the 480p video and trying to determine the location of it just based on the rock. So it's like, imagine what they can fucking do now. They're probably like, all right, he's at this longitude and latitude in front of this place because we see that scar in that tree, and out of the fucking 12 billion trees in the country, that one's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they could do that for sure.
Oh, they definitely geolocate. We had to turn off I just texted you the link, so maybe you can send that over to him.
I'll send it to Deef. Go ahead.
Download that. But yeah, you have to turn off your phone's location services. There's a lot of protocols that we had to go through whenever we were getting near the front lines. Just they can pick that up. They pick up the cell service, and they can just like send a drone right away. We've had a couple close calls with our team, thankfully. We've got, everybody's been safe so far. So
now this video, you and I are going to watch it. Is this something we can have on screen though?
Yeah. No, you guys could show us.
Okay. It's not going to show like people dying though?
No.
Okay.
Might show some gore, so you might have to
All right, so we'll just make a note of that if we have to like blur out some stuff. Fortunately,
And this is a
YouTube
little
rules.
bit. This is like a 3-minute video. If you want to watch the full thing, you can, or you can just.
Where do you want us to cut it to if you don't want us watching the full thing?
Well, you could play a little bit from the beginning
Yeah.
just to get context, and then
Yeah.
and then you could skip
do
that
it.
a little bit.
And when this was 2022 or 2023?
This was 2023, I believe.
Who's that in front of you?
That's just so we were giving out humanitarian aid boxes here.
Wow, look at these buildings.
So these people, their apartment just got hit by a missile.
Спасибо большое.
So that was artillery that just hit.
Танцы будем лимон собі. Я вже не могу, меня все внутри дрожит.
So you can hear in the background, there's like a full-blown tank battle that was happening.
So there's a full-blown tank battle happening right now.
God, it's like, and that's what's not. It's like in the middle of a regular town.
Yeah.
It's one day was normal, and now there's just.
So we saw the smoke rising. So I was like, I just pointed. None of the guys I was with could speak English. So I just pointed at the smoke, and he's like, "Oh, let's go check it out." And this is my buddy Mirne. And we pulled up, and there's this guy. There's a soldier that basically lost his leg.
Ukrainian soldier.
Yeah. So it's just insane. We were like, well, we can't leave him, so we just like threw out a bunch of stuff and just loaded him up.
Надо ногу придержать. Придержи ногу. Бегом. Придерживай ногу, потому что она болтается.
And the GoPro's on your head right now. Right?
Yeah. And
This is insane footage, man.
yeah, my heart was like going off. I was like,
За хорошую ногу. На себя. За хорошую ногу. А эту придерживай, блядь. Дай коробку. Да я забираю ногу коробку. Поехали. С
my
рукой?
heck of
Да.
means just get out. And then this other soldier saw us and he messed up his hand real bad.
Прямо.
So we loaded him up.
Я понял, я знаю. Жизнь,
How
жизнь,
close-
And artillery was coming in while we were leaving.
Хорошо.
Like towards you?
Yeah, around us, yeah.
How close was a hospital or a doctor?
We drove, I want to say maybe like 15 minutes to like there was like a little Frontline, like undercover, undercover hospital. I think I showed it.
Just got hit by a shell.
So yeah, basically the Russians like launched a bunch of grad missiles in and they like blew up and these guys got hit by them.
Якщо я її вирівняю, буде краще.
That's
Якщо ногу вирівняю прямо, буде краще. Да, яку ногу?
Yeah, that was probably the most gnarly. And then we had other situations where we just had to get out, but
Did you, there's so much happening, and you're also capturing to tell the story, and you're also helping normal civilians who are getting hurt. But you are in the middle of a war, quite obviously. Like,
Yep.
do you have your moments where you're like, all right, might not come home today?
that one was one of them. Because as we were extracting that guy, you might not be able to hear it, but like stuff was coming in. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, we could like, there was just this moment where I thought it in my mind. I was like, oh, I could die right now. But you have two options. It's like, you're either, okay, I'm going to panic, or let's go. Let's get this guy out of here as fast as possible. So for me, that activated, it's like, let's get it done.
Yeah, I mean, that's great too. You guys did get him out of there, but like I don't know. It's impossible to know what you would feel like until you're in that moment, right? And knock on wood, I've never had to be in a moment like that. That's insane. But like, is there so much adrenaline going that you're like at peace with it too? Where you're like, you know what?
I even on the video, maybe it wasn't on that clip, but on the way out, I was just like, man, what are we doing? Like, this is war. When you experience war like that, like I think any politician that's pushing war, their kids should have, like, somebody from their family should have to be
100%.
involved, because it changes the game.
I'll take it a step farther. I think anyone with, like, if we had to codify it in law, anyone with a following of X number and above who's openly advocating for war, they should have to send a family member.
Yeah, or go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's war is hell, man. It's you hear that all the time, but it is. And when you see the human cost, thankfully that guy survived. He lost his leg. But when you see the human cost, like I've been to some of the hospitals out there and some of the stuff I've seen in Gaza as well, you just see all this. You're like, oh man, this is like the last thing we want to do.
Yeah.
We do not want war. And it's easy for all these politicians like Lindsey Graham, like, hey buddy, I would love to see you put on a tactical vest.
Oh, he's got to get the ball gag out of his mouth first.
I didn't say it.
Listen.
Hey, no, it's
true.
It's true. If you actually went to the front lines and you had to risk your life and you had to be in it, you at least, even if you still supported it, you would at least be a lot more humble. Like the hubris would not be there. Like you'd be like, damn, I have to make a decision that people are going to die. Like it's a tough one. And I think you see our politicians, they're so far removed from that. Like you look at George Washington, that homie was ripping.
He was in it.
You look at Theodore Roosevelt. I didn't know that about him. He was in it. He was in Cuba, like storming trenches. I'm like, bro.
Dude, Theodore Roosevelt, when he was a politician, can we check this, Deef? I want to make sure I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure it was him. He was literally shot in an assassination attempt and fucking finished his speech.
He did. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right about
that.
Like
he was about that life.
Yeah, they were about that life. To some credit, I mean, Trump at least got shot, but it was just a little less, no, just like,
I will give him that though. Like I had a lot of special forces guys, like dude, you find out who people are when the bullets are flying, and that motherfucker,
he was about it.
He was about it.
He got up and like, yeah, that was epic. That was an epic moment.
Was epic for sure.
You can hate on him, but like that was gnarly.
100%.
When he got up and was like, fight. I was like, jeez, bro.
Insane. Yeah, Lindsey Graham has just been one that I've been abusing on Twitter like crazy, and I'm going to continue to do it because here's the thing. He has been to the front lines and stuff. There's crazy video. I don't know if you'll be able to find this, Steve. There's an insane video of Lindsey Graham and I think John McCain talking to Ukrainian soldiers in like 2014 through a translator, surrounded by all these guys saying like, stoking war, being like, we got to kill the Russian. You guys are going to save civilization or whatever. So they go there and they propagandize people. Like we know how many times a fucking guy's going to Israel. I think he should live there, but it's like, I just want to know what kind of tapes they got on him.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is you had a lot of politicians like going to Kiev, but Kiev's different than Avdiivka.
They're going to the presidential palace in Kiev with Vogue.
And Putin purposely doesn't shoot rockets when, our politicians are there. He doesn't want to risk anything. So
he's not suicidal. He is not a suicidal guy. I will give Putin that. I think people, when they look at someone they don't like, especially, a leader of some country or something, they tend to underestimate their mind. And that's a big mistake. Putin is not a dummy at all.
No. They were doing some dumb stuff in the beginning, but that's just because of their old tactics. Mm-hmm. But they've learned. They've adopted. They're dialed. I don't know how that all ends. I'm glad that they're at least kind of at the table. But I hope. In order to end it, what Russia wants in order to end it is just like laughable. So it's like, geez, it's like one step forward, two steps back. Sometimes it feels.
There's got to be that middle ground. There's got to be that thing where you're giving up something you don't like, but you're not giving up all they want. And there's a clear red line now in the sand that it's like, you do this, you're done.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have that last time because of the back and forth botched diplomacy on both sides for effectively 30 years at that point, But when were you in Gaza? How recent was that?
Gaza was 2024 in March.
Now, how'd you get in there?
I think I had gotten in there through Egypt when the Egypt crossing was up.
Whoa.
Now you can't go in through Egypt. Israel's got it fully sealed off because there was a lot of like tunnels and stuff under Egypt. So when I went into Rafah, and then we kind of went up into like Deir al-Balah, like the middle Gaza City.
What was that like?
I was just saying in the beginning, before we jumped on, it was kind of like a game of like Battleship because we were staying in a house that's on the deconfliction notice. So like basically we would tell there's like an organization that kind of coordinates things with the Israeli military, and you have to tell them, hey, we've got humanitarian aid workers here in this house, so that they don't like send a missile and blow up the house. But just days before, the World Central Kitchen, or after actually, the World Central Kitchen workers had been killed. So, and they were driving in a humanitarian marked vehicle. It was just an accident, total accident. They were driving at night and they were mistaken, and they all got killed. Rest in peace to all of them. And so yeah, it was, the windows would rattle anytime there was like an explosion, and you'd hear some gunfire because there's like gangs competing with each other. It was just like Wild West. But
wait, gangs competing with each other?
Yeah, there's all sorts of like inside Gaza, there's like warring gangs. Oh. There's like families that are fighting each other while Israel's also attacking them. It's like, it's messy. It's very messy. But through, one of the beautiful aspects of it was Palestinian people were incredible. Like our Palestinian team, they're amazing. They're incredible humans. The vast majority of Palestinians do not support Hamas. Yep. I think, they just want peace, just like most people in the world. So it was really cool to like get to meet and interact with people like that. And I got to like walk down some of the streets and like meet a ton of people, hand out food and water and blankets and stuff. So it was I felt very grateful to be able to do that.
Were they, how do I want to ask this? Were they angry
big time
at what was happening?
Yeah, big time.
Of course. It's kind of an obvious question, but the reason I asked,
yeah, we got yelled at a little bit from a couple people, and I like totally understood. Just like a couple younger girls, they were like really angry, and they were like, we don't want your aid. Like we this is your fault. This is your government's fault. And that's heartbreaking to hear, because it's like, I don't support it. If it was up to me, I would not have allowed that at all. And to hear that, and then you're trying to help, and it's like, it's tough.
Yeah. The reason I ask is just because the, $10 trillion question is, if it stopped, I mean, it's technically stop right now, but is it really, like, if it actually stopped and they were able to have, meaning the Palestinians were able to have their own place before even we get to the 2-country solution, which I've always believed in, would they be able to forgive? Because it's a massive murder that's occurred.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so. I can't speak to everyone. I'm sure there's a lot of people that, you wipe out 36 people to get one guy.
Right.
Like I know stories, that's happened, and you create a lot of trauma. These wars create so much trauma, and it's like it creates more perpetual generational trauma and issues that you have to solve down the line. But yeah, I do believe a lot of them can move on past this, and they just want peace. That's it.
I hope so, and I hope I see it in my lifetime, because the whole situation's really sad, and unfortunately, because we can see things, and it's not like the old days where it was, 50 years ago, there were 3 channels that told you whatever it was for the day, and that was it. Now people can see things, including stuff that is not real on any side of any war, so that's always tough. But like, when you see that the intelligence in Iran is so good that they knew where the fucking Ayatollah was taking a shit through traffic lights. Mm-hmm. But then the same Israeli government claims that, we have no idea what those tunnels are in Gaza in our fucking backyard that have been there for 20 years. Come on. You're telling me you got to take out a city block of 185 people for the one guy because you don't have good enough intelligence? I don't buy it. And my buddy Eric Zuliger has an amazing quote that I cite all the time, where he says, people are not their governments, and he's absolutely right about that. And I do try to really separate that. I think, I think sometimes we will demonize all over the world an entire group of people, you pick who it is, because of something that's happening. But the reality is, it's like, how do they do our cancer drugs? They kill everything. And ideally, we'd have cancer drugs that maybe could actually cure it by just attacking the disease. I think that's what we got to try to figure out as humanity, too. Like, how do you attack the disease of dictatorships and tyrannies and, you know, maniacal governments and stuff like that without discarding all the people, too?
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in these struggles. And in this situation, we've seen the people in Gaza discarded. And it's horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why for me personally, I come back to, you know, my faith and Christ. I think, you know, Christ is king. And I feel, you know, when you look at that territory, Jesus, Yeshua was a Palestinian Jew. Like, he was both. And I feel like we have the answer.
He was based.
He
was based before based existed.
Yeah, he invented based. And I feel like we have the answer. You know, we have the answer of like, hey, we have something to unify, to follow. It's just these extremisms are, like you said, it's like, can we surgically remove those extremes on both sides and, you know, make sure if we are wielding our military, it's only used to do just that and then to protect people. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I think the only pathway we can have is optimism.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.